Candace Owens versus Michael Eric Dyson. I've talked about this interview. Other people have commented on me talking about this interview because I've seen so many people cover this interview, so many Candace stans cover this interview and just sing her praises. Like, oh, she's the greatest, she's awesome. Oh, she told him. And I'm like, what interview were you watching? Because here's what we're going to do now. We're going to watch this interview. It's on MSNBC. Ari Melber has Candace and Michael Eric Dyson, Professor Michael Eric Dyson, going head to head. We're going to talk about this and we're going to break down like who came across better, who won, whose points were more valid, or not even whose points were more valid, but who better articulated their positions. Like, that's the issue, because regardless of whom you agree with, you can still see whether somebody was just a horrible representative for a particular argument, even if you agree with that argument. And that's what I want to discuss. Did Dyson do his side, did his position of the argument justice? Did Candace do her side, her position of the argument justice? Because we've got to discuss this, break this down, because I'm seeing all sorts of takes from YouTubers and then even people in my comment section like, oh, you're just a hater. Candace schooled Eric Dyson. Let's watch the video.
For tonight's discussion, we're joined by conservative activist Candace Owens. She's with Turning Point USA, and she argues African Americans are doing better under the Trump presidency. She's drawn praise for the way she thinks from none other than Kanye West, who has praised Trump, while the president also hailed her impact and contribution to this dialogue. On the other side, we have Georgetown professor Michael Eric Dyson, a nationally recognized expert on civil rights, who argues Trump is emboldening white supremacists. He's the author of 21 books, including What Truth Sounds Like. Thank you both for doing this discussion.
So first and foremost, we have to look at the framing of the argument, of the debate. The debate is Candace talking about how Donald Trump he's better for Black America. That's her position. And I want to point out something. When you're going on to these shows, like I've been invited to participate in panels before, and I know what the topic is. They let you know that they're not trying to surprise you. It's not a gotcha, ha. We're gonna leave you in the dark about what we're talking about and let you get there and just spring something on you. They let you know what they're talking about. Hey, do you want to participate? And you have the opportunity to say, okay, to either accept or decline to participate in whatever discussion they're having. That's the option. Additionally, she also has usually that you have the opportunity to provide some thoughts of, oh yes, this is what I want to talk about. Let them know basically this is what I'm talking about. And so that if there's anything additional that they need to address, that they need to be aware of, they're not caught off guard, so it could be a free-flowing and quick discussion because there's not a whole lot of time. This is a few minutes of dialogue. And so everybody needs to basically understand, okay, what are our stated positions? Okay, let's each defend our positions and go forward. So going into this, everybody knows what the topic is.
Thank you for having us.
Candace, when you look at that rhetoric and you look at what appears to be a shift in the way Donald Trump talks, do you think he is embracing a type of racial division that is problematic for us to operate as a civil society?
Well, the first thing that I look at is the date of the tapes. It's remarkable that we are pulling tapes and you've gone into the archives and we're looking at the year 2000.
Okay, I just want to point out something. The tapes that she's talking about, from 2000, these are times when Donald Trump argued the opposite of what he's arguing now. So what she's saying, what Ari Melber is saying, is that when Donald Trump said these in 2000, he agreed with the Democratic position. Because as I always say, Donald Trump is and has always been a Democrat. But let's continue.
I think people are entitled to evolve their thoughts over 18 years. The second thing that I think is quite remarkable here is that we're talking about racial division and what sows racial division. I think the fact that every time I'm invited onto this network, I'm being asked to dispute another Black person. The Black community is broken up.
Let's go back.
In general, and I don't want to partake in any of that. We're just ending a weekend where 71 Black people were shot in Chicago, 13 of them killed, and we're not talking about that. Instead, we're talking about old tapes.
We're going to talk about all that. You have a problem?
No, we're not. I have a problem that we're doing wall-to-wall coverage on
You have a problem with who you're appearing on this?
No, I don't have a problem
Candace,
with him.
you have a problem with who you're appearing on this segment with?
I'm actually respectfully saying to him that we should both decline tearing apart the Black community for the sake of television. And because MSNBC always invites me on to do that, I am declining to do so when our community is mourning the 71 people that were shot over the weekend. We need to stop this warfare. and come together and talk about things that matter. And what is going on in Chicago is a bigger topic and should be a bigger topic on this network than what Trump said 18 years ago and whether or not it means that people change over 18 years, which, shocker guys, they do.
This is the absolute, aside from the cowardice, the absolute intellectual dishonesty of Candace Owens. Not just the intellectual dishonesty, but just general dishonesty. Because right now she's claiming she's declining. Bitch, you showed up. Bitch, you're on camera right now. What are you talking about? You're declining. You didn't decline because you're here. Number one. Number two, what? Like that having a debate with another individual, with another black individual is divisive, is tearing down the black community? What? Are you out of... Like, listen to what she's saying. She's saying that by having her discuss race with another black person, it's divisive. That doesn't make any sense. It's tearing apart the black community. Let me tell you why she actually said this. Because a lot of people don't get this. And that's why I said it's not just dishonesty, it's cowardice. Because she saw who she had to debate. Once she saw who she had to debate, she started shitting bricks. That's what it was. Candace Owens is a clown. She knows she has no facts. She just spouts rhetoric and talking points. And when she saw she was going up against Michael Eric Dyson, that's not what she bargained for. She was hoping it would be... That's why Candace, and I've talked about this, why Candace Owens wants to debate a Cardi B. Why Candace Owens wants to debate Charlemagne. Candace Owens wants to debate Chris Evans. Yes, that Chris Evans, Captain America Chris Evans. She does not want to debate serious people that actually know what they're talking about because she gets demolished every time. She hates T.I. because she thought T.I. was just a dumb rapper, but he made her look like the dumb actress just reciting talking points that she is. That's why she hates T.I. because she thought she was going to walk in there and be the smartest person in the room, or look like the smartest person in the room, and T.I. embarrassed her. T.I. absolutely embarrassed her, and to this day, she hates T.I. To this day, she hates T.I. But that's what this is about. This isn't about tearing down the black community. This is about fear. Plain and simple, fear. She realizes she is outmatched. She's already conceded defeat. And that's why it's astounding that any of her stands can sit here and watch any of the rest of the segment and actually try to pretend that she walked away better, like she walked away winning. She's copping a plea right now. She's copping a plea right now. Like, oh, this is why we should... Hey, we should both decline. Look at his face. If you look at his face, he's like, you're scared. I know you're scared. Like, because he knows he's about to wipe the floor with her. She knows he's about to wipe the floor with her. But she's copping a plea at the moment this starts. Because if she wanted to decline, she could, when they shot her the email, she could have shot an email back or the phone call. She could have said, "Oh no, I'll decline to come on. I don't want to. I don't want to come on right now. I think I would rather talk about this." Because, like he said, like he's about to say, we told you what we were going to talk about. You agreed to come on and discuss what we said we're going to talk about. Like, what are you talking about right now? This is some nonsense. This is a song and dance you're doing right now, and you're scared. You're obviously scared.
Well, I'm going to have the professor respond, but I have to respond on behalf of myself. You knew what you were invited to discuss, and we're happy you're here. It's very important to me in this show that we have these conversations and invite a lot of people of all perspectives. If there's a problem with that, I think you knew what the invite was to begin with. Professor Dyson, your thoughts?
Well, look, we're dealing with a person who has not only radically emboldened the prospects of bigotry in this country, the resurgent, recrudescent hate that he has articulated. If you can't beat him, coin him. So he opposes Pat Buchanan on the one hand when it's to his own political advantage, and then subsequently when the real beliefs emerge from Mr. Trump, we see that his vicious animus toward black people, gay people, Mexicans, Muslims, women, and the like is a kind of cornucopia of hate that has been brashly articulated by a man of manifest lack of serious coherence, chaotic intelligence, and the lack of an ability to really express himself by not only pulling upon the strands of history, but refusing to take into consideration what's going on today. So I think in one sense, if we're going to talk about if we're going to be honest about Donald Trump, he has not helped black people. He has not enabled African-American people to move forward. He's riding a crest and a wave of economic prosperity put in place by his predecessor, Barack Obama. He has refused to acknowledge the centrality of police brutality and unarmed black black people being assaulted by people in this country. So the reality is that Donald Trump, while claiming through rhetoric to be for the blacks, what he has done is undermine the capacity of African American people to exist in a country where it's not only about the economic facts and the wherewithal that we contend with, it is about the tone, it is about the rhetoric, it is about the atmosphere that has been unleashed here. And Donald Trump has done something very dangerous and destructive. He can't see the difference between an anti-fascist and a person who supports it. He can't see the difference between somebody who's against black people and who is for them. So when he draws false equivalencies between both sides, he negates the ability to say, look, I believe in rational civil discourse in America, but I take a side morally and politically. We are now 53 years to the date.
For a quick second.
53 years, let me finish this. 53 years beyond the date of the voting. Let me finish
Candace,
this.
we'll go to the professor and then we'll go back to you, Candace. Professor Dyson, you can finish and then we'll go back to Candace.
Here we are 53 years past the Voting Rights Act. We've seen the resurgence of an attempt to nullify and destroy that black vote. We've seen attempts to somehow circumnavigate around black political citizenry and agency. So all I'm saying is, if we're concerned about black people, we got to be concerned about poverty, inequality, lack of access to education, plus the kinds of sorts of violence that we see directed toward black people in this country.
Candace?
What's happening right here is, yeah, he went long. And you know why? You may say, oh, well, he went too long. He didn't even give her a chance to speak. She already said she wanted to decline. She said she wanted to decline. So anybody arguing that he went too long and that, he's not even giving her a chance, she said she wanted to decline. He clearly says, okay, whatever you do, I'm here to discuss the topic. I'm here to discuss Donald Trump, using racist rhetoric and emboldening white supremacists throughout the country. That's his premise. That's what he's speaking to. Her premise is supposed to be arguing against that. So far, she's spoken and she's run. Like, all she's done so far is run. But now she sees him going on the long soliloquy, and now she wants to jump in. Now she doesn't want to decline anymore, because now she's like, okay, I got to get my talking points out. But he laid out a case of what his problem with Donald Trump is. She's already demonstrated that she doesn't even understand what's being said, because them talking about what he said back in 2000. By the way, Donald Trump is 70 something years old, so he was over 50. So a 50-year-old man, as a 50-year-old man, you're saying he's not evolved. Well, that tells you something about that 50-year-old man. And but the fact is that his evolution, or in this case, it would be considered a de-evolution, because they're saying his critiques back then were of the same rhetoric that he's using now. The interesting point of what Dyson says is, well, I don't believe he actually believed it back then. I believed he was just saying it back then because it was politically expedient, politically beneficial. Now, he's letting his true feelings be known, and he's politically benefiting off of those feelings now. Let's see what Candace has to say.
Conversation, sorts of violence as being directed towards black people. Am I black? I'm curious if I'm black, because I'm a black conservative, and I am not hearing anything that is said about the fact that about 25 white Democrats assembled to kick me out of a restaurant yesterday, to throw water and to throw eggs at me because I am a conservative that supports Donald Trump. The very same Donald Trump, okay? The very same Donald Trump that has not Obama. Obama did not do this. It's because President Trump has been slashing regulations, and it has brought this economy to a place it has never been at, okay? We have unemployment that's an all-time low for both women. You brought up women, you brought up gays, you brought up black people. Unemployment is at an all-time low across the board. You guys refuse to acknowledge the truth that we are doing better. You want to talk about fascists? Antifa attacked me. This is an all-white gang that attacked me and attacked an all-black police force in Philadelphia, okay? And they claim to be fighting racism. How is it plausible, Professor, that you allow this to happen to your community because you decided that because we are ideologically conservatives, you are okay with this? You're okay with the resurgence of the Democrats?
I haven't said a word.
Don't cut me off.
I haven't said a word.
You just said a lot of words.
I didn't say a word.
Actually, if somebody was counting,
I said nothing about you.
Now you're cutting me off.
I said nothing about you.
No.
So I find what happened to you reprehensible, by the way.
I still have to keep it going. Candace, we're going to take a pause. Candace,
I didn't get to finish.
I'm going to let you
for 5 minutes straight. You are attacking.
I'm going to let you finish, but if you're calling out the professor, I have to give him time. So Candace, go ahead.
Liberals have been attacking conservatives, and you guys say nothing about it. Blacks were attacked yesterday, okay? And they were attacked because they support Donald Trump. Black support for Donald Trump has doubled since this time last year. You guys can try to pretend that he is pushing in a racist era in this country when, in fact, we know the Democrats are the racists, have always been the racists. The parties never switched, and you should know this. As a civil rights person, you know the history. You know the people under the hood of the KKK.
Let me respond.
Were
Candace,
Democrats, and the party never switched. And
Candace, I'm going to give the professor a chance to respond.
You should defend what happened to me yesterday and defend our community being attacked because we support Donald Trump, because we understand that we have better economic opportunities under him than we ever had in Obama. And shame on you for crediting in Obama.
Candace, I'm going to give the professor a chance to respond.
Under his administration, he allowed the bloodshed, and Trump wanted to send the National Guard, and the Democrats stopped him. I'm really done with this. I'm done with this
I don't want to
racist
have
narrative.
to talk over
Let's
people,
talk
but
about
we
the
have to go
facts.
back and forth.
Let's talk about the
And
facts.
Candace?
This is a tried and true tactic of Candace Owens. And this is why she loves having her own show. And this is why anybody smart will not go on her show, because she just wants to talk over people. She's not going to talk, listen, and say something and listen, hear somebody else, give somebody else a chance to talk. She's going to just try to overtalk you, talk loud, talk fast, so that your voice is drowned out. Not by logic, not by reason, not by facts, not by data, but by speed and volume. That's it. She wishes to win arguments, not with facts, data, logic, evidence, reason, but with speed and volume. That's what she wants. She wants to talk loud and say nothing. Because right now she's arguing that she was attacked. At one point, she seems to be claiming it's a racist attack, and then at another point, it's a political attack. Like she omits the fact that Charlie Kirk was with her when that attack happened. She also falsely claims that the Philly Police Department is all black and that Antifa is all white. Like, these are just absolutely untrue claims. Absolutely untrue claims. But she makes this about her. I thought you started this with saying that we shouldn't be talking about these what's more important is the many black people that were killed and mourning the lives of people that died in violence over the weekend. I thought that was more important. But suddenly that's not more important, because those people that died in violent acts over the weekend, all the black people that have died, don't matter and don't compare to Candace Owens getting water thrown at her by some Antifa idiots. Like, that doesn't compare. That's more important. That's what we need to be discussing. And now listen, Dyson just wanted to say, wait, I didn't say anything about you. I didn't justify what happened to you. But she's like, hey, don't overtalk me, because like she's tried to ascribe to him something that he never talked about. He never talked about her attack. Like, in fact, in this segment, he never talked about her at all. He just talked about Donald Trump and his problems with Donald Trump and Donald Trump's rhetoric. But she makes this about her. And that's key to realize. She went from starting this whole thing to, oh, we shouldn't be engaging in this petty bickering when black people are dead and we should be mourning them. And that's what's more important, to, oh, I had to leave a restaurant early. Like, and number one, how did Antifa know you were there? That's just another question. Because you got to realize these performers, that's what they are. They're performers. They're not actual activists. They're not actual political operatives. She's a performer. That's what she is. And so how did Antifa or anybody even know you were there? Who gave them the heads up? That's one of the questions I'm asking. But the fact that she made this about her is very important because of what Dyson is going to say next. And Dyson's used some big words in this. Yeah. If you read, you understand those big words. If you don't, then you may say something stupid like, oh, you're not saying anything. No. If you read and have a reading comprehension above the 10th grade, then you would probably understand what he's saying. If you're Candace Owens, then you wouldn't.
We're going to have to take a pause there. Couple things. You're making a personal attack on the other guests, so I have to give them a chance to respond.
Let me respond. First of all,
I also have to say, and Professor, I'm going to go back to you. I also have to say the topic of this discussion that we have tried and perhaps are failing on live television to discuss is Trump policy. The incident that you're referring to yesterday is not necessarily this topic.
It's a Democrat policy.
And so we'd have to gather more information.
So I'm going to give the
professor. Professor, you get a chance to respond, sir.
First of all, I never said anything about Ms. Owens. I never directed any animus, any particular rhetoric, any conversation toward her. So first of all, when she say you allowed it, first of all, I'm not God. I don't control the universe or weather. I don't control the atmosphere, geology, or geography. So I did not point these people toward you. I think it's reprehensible that any human being is, if you will, put out of a particular establishment because of her ideology. I think that that's problematic. So I did not suggest that. Number two, yeah, you are black and I am black, but that doesn't mean that automatically we agree with everything. Of course not. Let me finish. Now, what I'm saying to you is that when you talk about me as disrespectful, here's what's interesting to me. You have come on here and, like Donald Trump, reduce everything to narcissistic self-preoccupation and articulation of your. Let me finish. What you're saying here. So now
you're using big words to say nothing. This is what I'm talking about, of how not a thinker, how unintellectual, how unintelligent Candace Owens is. Narcissistic is too big a word to comprehend. Like that's what she just said. Like he says, your narcissistic self-preoccupation. That's big words to say nothing. Okay, and this is why I really want to focus on this part, because I've seen so many creators use this as the title of the big words to say nothing. If you don't understand what he just said, you're an idiot. And yes, I'm talking to any creator, any YouTuber, any Candace Owens stan that said it. You're an idiot, because it's very, like, you could have actually, let's say you didn't understand. You could have actually went on Google and looked up those words, narcissistic and self-preoccupation. You could have looked those words up, or you could have opened up a dictionary if you have one, or if you know someone who has one, because you probably don't have books because you don't like to read. I mean, most Candace Owens fans don't like to read, like they're allergic to books. You could have looked up what those words mean. Narcissistic, and it's showing how self-absorbed Candace Owens is. This is supposed to be about Trump's rhetoric as it relates to the black community. She starts off by saying, oh, well, there's something more important to the black community, and that's all these black deaths. Okay, we've moved on to the point where the most important thing that they should be talking about, and Ari Melba pointed this out, is Candace Owens being harassed at a restaurant. That's the most important thing. That's narcissistic as hell. That's what narcissism means. Everything is about her. And for all the we shouldn't be playing victim, Candace Owens right now is playing victim. That's what she's doing. But her stance will completely gloss over that. The fact that she spent a large portion of this interview playing victim. Oh, they're attacking me. Oh, why are they targeting me? Oh, you should be defending me. And he comes out with the most one of the most great points to begin with. I'm not God. I let it happen. Like, how did I let it happen? I'm not God. I don't control the weather. I can't just randomly stop events from happening that are outside of my presence. Like, what? I let it happen. And so then she says, like, but then you ultimately get to the point where she's saying you're using big words to say nothing. Narcissistic self-preoccupation has meaning. These are words. So allow me to break it down for you, for you dummies that don't like dictionaries and apparently are allergic to reading. This is what he meant, because he said something. Yes, he used big words comparatively to the words that you're all used to. He used big words to say something. He used big words to say that Candace Owens makes everything about Candace Owens. That's all Candace Owens is concerned about, Candace Owens. And he said it's funny because Donald Trump is the same way. Yes, like peas in a pod. So he said, your narcissistic self-preoccupation. You're just concerned about yourself. You're making everything about you. And she's doing it right now. Because she just, like I said, she went from the bigger picture of what they're supposed to be talking about. Well, she didn't even stay on topic. She, at no point in this interview, in this debate, in this panel, has she actually stayed on topic. So right then and there, all of you stands, all you Candace Owens stands, have no wins. At no point did she stay on topic. Correction. She said a couple sentences about, oh yeah, black Americans are doing better. And then she immediately pivots to some other nonsense to distract from the fact that her statements are not factually based and not supported by evidence. That's another trick that Candace Owens likes to use.
Now, what I'm saying to you is that when you talk about me as disrespectful, here's what's interesting to me. You have come on here and, like Donald Trump, reduce everything to narcissistic self-preoccupation and articulation of your. Let me finish. What you're saying here. So now, what happens to Black America happens to you. So Black people are reduced to what? Can you, Ari? Can I finish my point? I didn't.
And now she claims she wasn't talking about herself. Bitch, this is on video. It's on video. Like, this is being nationally broadcast. It's being recorded. We see you. You just spent a large segment of the time when you're supposed to be discussing other issues, talking about yourself and how you're a victim because Antifa attacked you at a restaurant. That's like, you weren't talking about yourself. Yes, you have been talking about yourself. She's not just divorced from facts and evidence. She's divorced from reality. But this is your queen.
What happens to Black America happens to you. So Black people are reduced to what? Can you, Ari, can I finish my point? I didn't jump on her. Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point?
We're out of time. We put aside 8 minutes.
Narcissism, whether Black or white, is problematic. Here's a woman incapable of arguing, therefore she articulates and overspeaks people. Bless your heart, little girl.
And then it ends. And like and so the whole point is, if you can't even stay on topic, that makes me wonder, like, did you have anything to support, to actually add to the conversation? And you did a whole bunch of other stuff to try to distract from the topic at hand. Dyson laid out his case of what the problem is and what his problems are with Donald Trump. She went on from what about black on black crime to what about black on black debates to we should not participate in this interview to, oh well, what about me? What about what happened to me? To, well, I haven't talked about myself. This woman is an idiot. This woman is an absolute idiot. And you can break this interview down, and if you disagree with me, break down this interview and tell me where she stayed on topic and where she articulated points and where she made a cogent articulation of her position that Donald Trump is good for the black community. Tell me that, because she spent a whole bunch of time talking about a whole bunch of other stuff that had nothing to do with the topic on hand. And the stuff that she was talking about was ridiculous to in and of itself. Her complaining about being like, and it's crazy for somebody who keeps talking about victimhood to spend so much of this time playing the victim. Well, why isn't anybody coming to my rescue? Why isn't anybody talking about what happened to me? What about me? But this is the person that has the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to tell other people to stop playing the victim? Y'all are clowns. There's a bunch of content creators I saw that have this interview and they quoted Candace. Oh yeah, she showed him. Like, y'all are dumb as hell. Y'all are dumb as hell. Y'all gotta read a dictionary. These are words. They have meaning. And the funny thing is, she says you're using big words to say nothing. And then she says, oh, I'm not being narcissistic. I'm not talking about myself. So she knows what narcissistic means. But then she lies and says that she wasn't talking about herself. Yes, because nobody else would have brought up what happened to you at Starbucks or whatever that place or whatever restaurant you were at when Antifa showed up. Nobody talked about that. You brought it up. And you were complaining not only that this happened to you, but that Michael Eric Dyson somehow should have stopped this from happening. She's an absolute clown. And come on, if those of you caping for her are clowns as well. As always, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you have not subscribed already. But if you disagree with me, if you think I'm wrong, if you think she actually said something intelligent, write down in the comment section what she said. And we'll discuss it either in the comment section or in a future video. I'll see you next time.